There are nearly 30,000 days in an average person's life, and unfortunately, many of us end up wasting thousands of those days making mistakes, taking wrong turns, or hitting dead ends. But here's the good news. If you can avoid just 5 specific mistakes, you stand a real chance to transform your entire life. Today, I want to break down exactly what those mistakes are, how they happen, what they look like, and what you can do to steer clear of them and protect yourself from their harm. A lot of folks just drift through life like they're sleepwalking, almost unaware of the mistakes they're making daily. For many, these errors seem unavoidable, but the truth is, you don't have to be one of those people. Most of the time, the big difference between those who thrive and those who barely survive has to do with awareness. It's about making a conscious choice to live intentionally, rather than just letting life happen by accident. When you have the ability to see your options clearly and choose wisely, that's when real change begins. Let's start with the first mistake, the easiest one to slip into, thinking there's always more time. Here's the brutal truth. Time is truly finite and precious. We only get so many days on this planet, and every single one is slipping away every day a little closer to the end. The worst part, we don't just tend to waste time randomly. We often squander our most productive, energy-rich hours on things that don't really matter, saving the leftovers for what does. Think about your typical day. When do you feel at your sharpest? Usually, it's in the morning. But what do most of us do during those prime hours? We mindlessly scroll through social media feeds, check emails that could wait, absorbing others' thoughts instead of creating our own. It's vital to guard your time and use it thoughtfully to get the most out of every day. So, for starters, in the mornings, it would be smarter to focus on things that genuinely matter, those big goals or meaningful activities, rather than wasting that energy on trivial distractions. On the flip side, if we keep thinking there's always tomorrow, we risk losing the chance altogether because, frankly, there might not be one. Don't keep pushing important tasks into the next month or next year pile. If something's important and needs to happen, do it now. If it can't happen today, figure out how to do it this week. If that's still out of reach, then start thinking about what you need to clear out or reorganize in your schedule over the next 10 days to make it happen. This is fundamentally about recognizing that every moment is a choice. As you're listening to me now, you're actively deciding how to spend this slice of your life. Does your current life reflect the kind of person you want to become? The Stoics understood how crucial this awareness is. Marcus Aurelius once advised, confine yourself to the present in your thoughts and actions. Instead of endlessly postponing vital tasks, bring them back into the now, where they belong and where you can do something about them. He understood something simple but profound: the only real place where change occurs is right here, right now. The past isn't something we can change, it's just a memory. The future is just a product of our imagination. But the present, this moment, is the only reality we truly have outside our own minds. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing there's always more time, but remember, the hourglass of your life is steadily running out, grain by grain. So it's crucial to reflect intentionally on what you want to accomplish, and then start making small steps toward those goals. Getting ahead of that clock-taking action can mean the difference between a life driven by regrets and one filled with fulfillment. Picture this: if you knew you only had a year left to live, what would you immediately stop doing? What new things would you start? The gap between those answers and how you're living now reveals your true priorities. Making these kinds of changes won't be easy, nothing worthwhile ever is. But simply dedicating an hour of your day to work on something meaningful instead of scrolling social media can make you feel more in control and more alive. Imagine applying that mindset across your whole life. That's the first big step you can take, and trust me, the rewards are enormous. Now, moving on to mistake number 2, neglecting what truly matters. It's all too easy to get caught up in entertainment, binge-watching shows, obsessing over sports, scrolling through social media or news feeds, things that split our attention and take away from real progress. As the ancient Romans said, art is long, life is short. A little bit of fun can be healthy, even necessary, but there's a boundarian overindulgence that keeps us distracted and disconnected from our purpose. Too many of us get overly invested in the lives of others, either real or fictional, while neglecting our own. We can repeat lines from movies, remember episodes by heart, but struggle to clearly articulate our core values and dreams. The truth is, your life is your own, and most of the time, the majority of your precious time should be allocated toward activities that genuinely improve your future. Your life isn't a rehearsal or a practice. You are the main actor, and no one else is going to live it for you or make the right choices for you. Through your responsibility. Every book unread, every postponed conversation, every skill you're supposed to learn but keep putting off, these are debts piling up in your personal account. When you take action on those, you're paying those debts off and building value. No one cares more about the quality of your life than you do. You're the main character in your story. Whatever stories or lessons you admire in others, they got there because they took responsibility for their growth. No one handed it to them. If you want to be inspired, look at those people who are living with purpose. They don't wait for permission. They handle their growth, their happiness, their meaning, and their problems head on. That kind of responsibility isn't something you can outsource or delay. It's on you. And the more you embrace it, the more you'll benefit. But it's easy to fall into the trap of distraction, especially in our culture that constantly tries to grab your attention. We're living in an attention economy where every platform, every app is designed to hook us and keep us glued, often at the expense of our real lives. Think about the typical night flipping on the TV, catching a show, relating to the characters' struggles, feeling a fleeting sense of happiness when their story reaches a resolution. But it's their fictional lives that advance, not yours. The challenge is to redirect some of that energy, use that passion, and focus on your own story, because you are the only one who can truly change it. What if you approached your own life with the same curiosity, dedication, and storytelling intensity you give to your favorite characters? What if you studied your patterns, celebrated your growth, and invested emotionally in your own journey? You might just turn your ordinary days into something that could inspire millions. Have you ever imagined your life as a movie, a book, or a TV show? If not, try it now. Picture your current life as the plot of a story. What's the main conflict? Is it an adventure or just a series of monotonous routines? Does your story have a sense of purpose or growth, or are you just going through the motions until the final credits roll? Many feel like life is just a joke or a pointless routine, but it doesn't have to be that way. Every life can be meaningful, dignified, and purposeful. Your life, just as it is worth telling, and every memorable story has a trajectory. The hero starts in one place, faces challenges, learns, grows, and ultimately arrives somewhere new. You're the artist creating this arc. Your life story is what you're building day by day with your choices and actions. Unlike a fictional story, this one's real. It carries real consequences. The stakes are significant. So I invite you to take some of that free time you might spend on entertainment and turn it into a moment of reflection. Just 30 minutes to think about your life as if you were directing it. What's the plot? What are the subplot threads you want to resolve? This kind of exercise isn't just about planning. It reveals something fundamentally. Your life is filled with the same drama as the stories we watch or read. While it takes effort and patience to learn how to live well, giving yourself permission to reflect is a gift. And as with any story, there will be struggles, conflicts, and setbacks. That's why the third mistake to avoid is being overly negative about those setbacks or mistakes. The Stoics teach us that we have the capacity to change our minds, our powerful tools. You have resources, you have a brain, and you can impact your world, big or small. Once you recognize the problems in your life, the next step is to break them down into manageable parts. Then create a plan to tackle each issue one by one, systematically. Stoicism is fundamentally about problem solving. You look at what needs to change, assess your control over it, and then take the smallest step forward, just like climbing a mountain. You don't aim straight for the top because that's overwhelming. You focus on your next step, then the next, and so on. When faced with challenges, they big or small, you don't need to conquer everything in one day. You don't need to feel defeated or give up. Instead, you start working on what you can fix, one step at a time. But here's the thing. Not every problem can be solved entirely by you. The fourth big mistake is trying to control what simply isn't within your power. You live in a world, a vast planet with countless issues, and within your individual life, you control more than you realize. But once you step outside your personal sphere, whether it's local or global, that control diminishes. When it comes to national or international issues, your influence is minimal, and that's okay. The problem is, our culture often keeps us fixated on these uncontrollable problems because they trap our attention. In today's hyperconnected world, it's especially hard to accept this. We're constantly bombarded with stories of injustice, disasters, and crises we can't fix, making us feel angry, anxious, or helpless. But here's a paradox. The more energy you spend worrying about what's outside your control, the less energy you have left for the things you can influence. Your thoughts, reactions, and choices within your personal sphere are substantial. They shape your life. But chasing after things beyond your reach only drains your mental strength and leaves you feeling powerless. A wise person recognizes where their influence ends and concentrates their energy on what they can actually change. Be aware of how emotional you get over issues you cannot fix. Most people waste mental energy consuming news, social media, or conversations that only deepen their sense of powerlessness. Instead, focus on what you can do and expand that influence gradually. Maybe you can volunteer, donate, or participate in local initiatives. But always keep it realistic. Most major news events will continue unchanged regardless of what we do. You only have so many resource, time, energy, and attention, so channel those into efforts that actually make a difference. This leads us to the final mistake: living your life without a personal philosophy, a guiding set of principles to steer your decisions. Think back to what I said about being the main character of your story. Every well-crafted story has a core philosophy or theme, of something that shapes the hero's journey and their moves. A personal philosophy isn't just some abstract idea. It's a practical framework, guidelines you live by even when life gets tough. Without it, you might drift aimlessly, reacting to circumstances without purpose. Most people inherit their philosophy without much thought, shaped by family, culture, or societal norms. But an explicitly examined and consciously chosen philosophy is much more powerful. It gives your actions clarity and purpose. To create yours, consider reflecting on your background, your upbringing, your lessons learned, your defining experiences. Ask yourself what values you want to be remembered for, what lessons shaped you most, and what kind of person you aspire to be. These values become your compass. They guide your decisions and help you stay aligned with who you want to be, especially when times are tough. Your philosophy isn't status, it should grow and evolve as you do. What serves you at 20 might change by 40, especially in different circumstances or life stages. The true wisdom is adapting your core principles without losing sight of your fundamental values. Commit to living according to these principles. When you do, you'll find that many people support and celebrate your efforts, because living by solid values makes the world a better, more intentional place. To conclude, we've explored 5 major mistakes to avoid in life. Thinking there's always more time, focusing on what doesn't matter, dwelling too negatively on problems, trying to control the uncontrollable, and living without a clear philosophy. These mistakes tend to compound over time, leading to regret and unfulfilled potential. But awareness is the key. They can be recognized and corrected. Once you see these patterns, you can choose differently. Reclaim your time, shift your attention, and rebuild your life on purpose. The power is yours. You can set your direction today. Wake up to your own life and start taking charge. If this message resonated with you, Share in the comments which mistake hit closest to home. That reflection might help someone else start their journey too. And don't forget to subscribe for more insights that turn awareness into action. Remember, if your life is approximately 30,000 days, some are already gone. But today, right now, you still have the chance to live the rest of those days differently. No matter your situation or how many days you've already used up, the effort to change is always worth it. So, seize the day. Choose awareness over autopilot. Choose purpose over distraction. And start living the life you're truly meant to live today.